Alright, gang, welcome. Another director's commentary is upon us. Get rid of this Photoshop. I literally just made the thumbnail, just slapped it on the video, and now we're live. It's amazing how that works. It's like a 5-second turnaround. It's pretty epic. Very, very excited for this one. I am very, very excited for this one. Because before we start watching the video, let me give you a little bit of a backstory. Yay, commentary, says Clonely. Welcome. So let me give you a little bit of background on this one. So the other day, a couple days ago, I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I was sitting here and I was sort of brainstorming and planning out this video, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this video the most viewed video on my entire channel. That was the goal. That was the intention, actually, with making this video at all. So that was the intention, was, hey, I'm going to put a ton of time into this video, and I'm going to make it surpass my most viewed video on the channel, which at this time is unboxing and testing NBA Slam Jam Mini Hoop, which actually I just saw crossed 70,000 views, so that's cool. That's been the most viewed video since approximately a month after it came out, and now it's been out for 2 years, so we need a change of scenery. Sort by most popular, it's been that way for a while. We need to change the scenery up there at the top, so it's time to make the best video on my channel. So that was one of the goals, was to make it pass up the mini hoop video, and hopefully it gets there. Hopefully I've done all the things. I've done the research. I've made like 10 thumbnails. I've got some titles backed up just in case I need to change it. Like I've edited the video. It took me 8 hours of editing time. So safe to say I've put a lot more time into this one, and I think this proves to me that this is why I've switched to doing once a week videos, because being able to, I don't always take that long, right? But being able to take that long and being able to put that much time in and that much effort in to one video, I think was why I've done it. And I think I probably needed to put more time into each video just to make sure they are all better. But alas, it's a very, very exciting thing. And, my goal is 100,000 views on this video in 100 days. So let's wait 100 days to see what happens. I need to pin a comment. We'll see what happens. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's get into the watching of the thing. We're gonna blow it up, big screen. Whoa. And we're gonna turn on the old sound, and then we're gonna just hop right in. I'm gonna talk about this video. I'm very excited to talk about this video because I love watching this video. Very first introduction. I did a little differently. I stood a little further away from the camera, had my phone in hand. I was recording the audio through my phone. That way I could just put it over the video. And I put text only in the first couple of seconds on screen, just so that there's one extra thing to look at to keep the attention potentially. So that was the intention with that. My goal for this video was to make it between 8 and 10 minutes long, and it wound up at 13, so that's cool. I'm not going to complain, but a goal of mine was to try and see if it could get 100,000 views with 3 minutes average view duration, which would equal about to 5,000 hours of watch time, which is insane. But my thought was, well, if it's a 13-minute video and if it gets 3 minutes per view, it's probably not going to hit 100,000 views. Maybe not in this 100-day span, but so I want to make sure it gets as high view retention as possible, which is why a lot of the editing decisions I made was not only to provide as much value visually, because I wanted to make sure that this review video was different and that I wasn't just talking about the camera. I wanted to make sure that I was showing what the actual camera did, because the last video I made about this, it's at almost 10,000 views now, which is cool, but I gave you, literally, it was like a 7-minute video, and I think I showed actual footage, like a total of about 10 to 20 seconds. That's it. So I fumbled the bag, safe to say. So let's get started. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing the SONY ZV-1 to the GoPro HERO11 to find out which camera is the biggest bang for your buck, and all the while showing you guys what fun and interesting different ways I can put these cameras to use. I love that. So let me talk about that a little bit. That first 20 seconds of the video, I think it took me, I did this so Friday is my day I usually record, and then Saturday is the editing day, but on Friday evening, after I was done with all the footage, I went ahead and just edited the intro I do believe that intro took me about 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes. I'm sorry. Took me about an hour and a half-ish, approximately, of time. And oh boy. Oh boy. I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy with how that intro turned out. So much so I want to watch it again. Oh, I accidentally did skip to the beginning, so oopsie.
In today's video, I'm going to be comparing the SONY ZV-1 to the GoPro HERO11 to find out which camera is the biggest bang.
Oh, let's talk about, hold on. Let's talk about those. So these little pictures of the cameras. What I did was, a couple of days before this actually came out, I brought out my green screen, and I had it set up, and I had lights on it and everything, and I was taking product photography. So I was holding out the cameras on the tripods and like in certain ways to where it had the green screen behind it, so it was easy to cut them out, make them look nice and crisp like that. Like in the lens of the GoPro, you can actually see the ring light. If you really look closely, you can see the ring light, and that was pretty cool. But I took a bunch of pictures. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of pictures on my phone of just each camera, and the ones in the thumbnail I took the same time. But it's funny because you notice the lens on the ZV-1 is closed, and the light is red. And the red light signifies that it's recording, but it's not because it's closed. In Photoshop, I actually painted that red dot on there. That way it was just an extra pop of color on the camera. It's a very, I mean, it's this big of a detail, but I thought it was interesting. But there's also pictures of, I actually have the camera open. I wasn't recording, but I had the camera open so that I still had to, the lens was open, so it kind of created that illusion of it was actually recording. And I just put the red dot on there again in Photoshop. But anyway, I wanted to use these visuals a couple of times. And actually, I just thought about this. I remembered I was gonna, whenever I had, shot on ZV-1 or shot on GoPro 11, I was gonna put these pictures up there with it, but I just forgot to do that.
Pro HERO11 to find out which camera is the biggest bang for your buck, and all the while showing you guys what fun and interesting different ways I could put these cameras to use.
So this was actually a fun little thing. So part of what took me so long on this in this first 20 seconds was the sound design. I did so much like with the sound effects and the music behind it, and this whole last like second where I dropped the camera. There's a sound. There's crack. So there was a sound of impact, a crack sound, and there was also the dirt impact to where it sounded like it hit the ground. I don't know how convincing that actually was to like the objective viewer, but the way I was trying was I cut the video so you only heard the sound effects to think that it was actually really happening. So I cut the video, put the sounds in there to make it sound like I dropped it and hit the ground and I broke the camera. And so I recorded while I was in the middle of editing that. I pulled my phone out and I started the video and I was like, oh, and I was recording a bunch of sound effects. I have that video on my phone still. Might post it to Patreon, who knows? But I was just recording a bunch of gasps and surprised sounds to find the best one so I could put it on that to make it sound like I had cut the video, but behind the video I was gasping because I dropped the GoPro, or I threw it up in the air and then I dropped it. And as you'll see later, and I think later in the end, towards the end of the video, I kind of like I bookend that particular thing by showing the full cut of me throwing the GoPro up in the air. But I put that towards the end of the video because you want the intention with this particular sequence was to make you want to see what actually happened. Maybe I don't know if it actually was effective, but that was my intention with it. And then the music. Oh, I love this part. It's still dark, but the music towards the next sequence leads you in. So it's like it leads you into the next cut. So I did a video comparing these two cameras a little while back, and it did really well. It's got almost 10,000 views. But I hate it. And then those little click sounds are to cue the picture popping up on screen. Being is because I just sat there and talked about the camera. I didn't actually show you it. This whole intro, the first minute or two is like just full of edit. It's just boom, bam, edit. There's so many little things that go into it. Like if you see, like the thumbnail of this video is actually the timeline. It's blurred a little bit because it's the background, but it's the timeline of the edit. So you can see a bunch of little teeny weeny little baby cuts all over the place. It's crazy. So like 8 hours worth of editing was into that thumbnail. It's craziness. I mean, I did, but I showed like 10 seconds worth in an 8-minute video. So during this entire video, as I'm talking, and this is, sorry, I keep pausing, but there's just so many things to unpack. This is the second video I've made on my channel where I've used Epidemic Sound. Not sponsored. I could be though, so hit me up. But this is the second video on my channel I've used Epidemic Sound for my music, and it's great because what happens is, like, I've one of the things on the podcast I did with Evan Lindy. Go check it out after this commentary. It's a great podcast. He was telling me about Epidemic Sound, and we were talking about stems and like instrumentals and bass lines and stuff like that. Where on Epidemic Sound, you could actually, instead of downloading, well, you have the option to download the entire song, the entire score, but you also have the option to download just the instrumentals or just the melody or just the bass, just the drums, whatever. So what I've done a lot in this video, like this particular sequence, the music behind this is just the instrumentals. Or is it the melody? I don't remember. It's one of the two. To where it's a little bit more simple. It's a little bit more simplified. And there's certain segments where I use the full song. There's certain segments where I use just the melody or just instruments. And there's videos past where I've done just the bass. Just to sort of have a little beat in the background. But nothing crazy. Nothing that'll overpower, you know. I'm going to have footage with either the ZV-1 or the GoPro 11 over top the entire time. That way, while I'm giving you this information, you're able to see what these cameras actually can do. So let me start off with the Sony ZV-1. First of all, I got this camera on February 18th of 2020. Again, the camera click sound effect to cue up the image. Because that's one of those things I've learned sort of subliminally over watching a bunch of toothpaste print. But that's one of the things I've learned over the course of watching a lot of videos is like, when you have something pop up on screen, it changes the visual, but you don't really get a cue audibly to know, hey, that's what's happening. So it can kind of be overlooked. So what you do is, when something pops up on screen like that, you have some kind of audible cue to where, hey, that signals to your hearing receptors that something is changing. And your eyes know that, but if you get that from multiple different sensory inputs, then it's received a little bit deeper. So that's why there's the click and there's the change on the screen. 2, I think, and I've been using it for basically every single video ever since then. And I've made a bunch of videos about this camera because I love it. I absolutely love this camera. If you click on this video, you're probably asking yourself, why should I listen to this guy? What does this guy have that any of these other channels that have talked about this camera, what does he have that they don't? I'm gonna just tell you straight up, I've made hundreds of videos with this camera, and there's a lot of specific things that people talk about all the time, like shit's 4K, 60 frames per second, you know, crazy stuff. This man out here playing to the natural human instinct. Bro, you already know, you have to, it's for the retention, man, it's for the retention. You gotta just play to the brain, the human psyche. You gotta like tap in and just. But that is actually how people do it. It's kind of crazy. Like they'll talk about how one of the biggest parts of retention is learning and understanding the human psychology, and learning and understanding why people watch for certain lengths of time, or like why people lose the tension, or like there's so many different things. It's kind of insane. I want to learn about it more, but. Yeah, it's just, there's so many things. Stuff, and that people can get super complicated with it, but one of my goals with this video is I don't want to get complicated with it. I simply just want to show you what it does, what it looks like. So
Bro, just binges psychology content? No, I don't, but I would love to. I need to, because that would be extremely helpful.
That kind of stuff is probably more helpful, actually, than the YouTube guru type content. Just saying. I got this camera. The first thing I noticed, like basically, I love this shot right here. It's the dash mount with the ZV-1 attached to it, and I turn it slightly to where I'm on the left third and my steering wheel's on the right third. It's so cool. Right out of the box was how regular settings, it's cropped in pretty bad, like the lens isn't very wide. And over time I've gotten used to this and I've sort of adapted to it and sort of accepted it. But for a while it's kind of annoying to me, like how cropped in the lens was. Oh wait, we need to talk about this particular shot right here. So pay attention to the music, turn your volume up. You should write a book. I've started a book actually, technically. But you should turn your volume up because I want to tell you about this very particular thing and I want to make sure you hear it. And so with the coffee, let's see, hold on. For a while it was kind of annoying to me, like how cropped in the... Okay, so it cuts on beat. Watch and listen, because there's two little spouts where the espresso is going to come out. Each one comes out at a different time, but this was not planned, but it came out on beat, each one. So it's like boom, boom, and it's so beautiful. Just listen. So we're going to go back. The cut to that shot is going to happen on beat, and then each drip
is going to happen on beat as well. So pay very close attention, turn your volume up if you have to, because it's going to be awesome.
Sort of adapted to it and sort of accepted it, but for a while it was kind of annoying to me, like how cropped in the lens was. But down the line, I actually figured out putting it into product.
It's so satisfying, dude. And really, even when I take out the little thing, it's also on beat. So
I'm used to this, and I've sort of adapted to it and sort of accepted it. But for a while, it was kind of annoying to me, like how cropped in the lens was. But down the line, I actually figured out putting it into product showcase.
Oh man!
One of the big sellers.
Oh, that's so good. Ooh, that's so good, dude. That whole sequence. Oh man, dude, that's the most satisfying thing ever. I'm gonna watch it again. I don't care. Crispy. So we got
adapted to it and sort of accepted it. But for a while, it was kind of annoying to me, like how cropped in the lens was. But down the line, I actually figured out putting it into product showcase mode.
Oh my gosh, that's the best thing of all time. That's the best thing I've ever seen ever. That is so. Oh, I love it, dude. It's so awesome.
One of the big sells for this camera actually makes the lens a little wider. The only problem
I love, dude. Editing to music is the best thing of all time. Is that what you were gushing over last night? No, but I mean, dude, I'd be gushing over this entire video. I love it, and you know, I spent so much time on it that like I'm gonna love it because it's like I've grown it from an egg being raw footage. Like, dude, so good, so good.
problem here is that when you put it into product showcase mode, yes, the lens gets wider, but you lose that image stabilization. But one of the big reasons I got this camera to begin with was compared to my Galaxy S21, the audio on this camera, just the onboard microphone, is way better. And truthfully, I didn't.
Everyone here has a unique relationship with music, but it's all the same. It's all unique, but it's all the same. It's in our soul, man. It's in our very soul. And it's in the background of my videos. But man, if you don't have, I have this idea where I want to make an entire vlog without using music, and man, it's gonna be hard. But it's gonna be a good practice of sound design in general. But dude, I love this video so much, dude.
Didn't even really have to put on an external microphone because it works just fine. Like, the audio's great. If you're just starting out, or if you don't have the funds to acquire a microphone, that's totally okay. Because the onboard mic for this camera is as good as you need. It even comes with this little guy, this little windscreen.
I just said
Green deal right here.
Yeet. He said yeet.
That just attaches to
I almost made a fun little edit for that, but I didn't for some reason.
your camera, and it's really, really, really effective. So I mentioned the product showcase mode, how it's like different than the regular shooting mode. I'm shooting in the product showcase mode right now. What that does is essentially it focuses on.
Look at that. That's funny. I love these little dudes. These little funny little segments that are just dotted in the video throughout. Oh man, the hyper view on the GoPro is nuts. One thing I said I was going to do in this video was I was going to label not only what camera it was shot on, but what mode it was shot on. The labeling of the mode I failed to do, so my bad, but it is what it is. These little dudes, you mean you? Yeah, but like it's the little by dudes I mean the shot that like this and then, like the other funny ones like that. It's just added a little element of humor.
Whatever I put in front of the screen. So it doesn't have to be a face, it doesn't have to be anything specific or in a specific location. It's just boom.
Sound effect.
In front of the screen, boom, whatever's in front. That's for product showcase. So if you're showing off a product, it'll focus on it. I use this feature an awful lot when I'm shooting for my overhead.
Fun fact, I didn't put it in the video. This shot, I have this long GoPro arm that I attached the GoPro ZV-1 mount to the end of it. So I'm holding this on the end of basically a really long stick, and I'm walking with it.
Because a lot of times I'm
I will not, Chloe. I'm not smart enough. Dang, bruh.
handling something, and I want that something to be in focus. And also, when I have the camera locked off, it's just sitting on a tripod, sitting still. I'm not holding it or I'm not moving or anything. Then it's really handy to have to shoot this because I can have a wider lens, so I feel like it's a little bit easier to look at, and it's not so crowded on screen. And to the best of my ability, all the footage that I'm putting over top of this video,
is crap.
I'm going to
I'm
have
a liar.
labeled what mode I was shooting in, so I would have
I'm a
regular
liar.
or product showcase or slow-mo or whatever. And speaking of slow-mo, there is a
Oh wait, never mind.
super high frame rate feature on this camera.
I love this little
high
sequence.
frame rate just means there's more frames per second so that you can make a video slow down and it's not super choppy. So the camera automatically switches to a higher frame rate and then slows the stuff down automatically so you get footage kind of like this.
Slow-mo. Dude, look at that. Oh yeah. So crispy. So crispy.
But as far as the ZV-1 goes, it's a really nice little camera that you can put in your pocket. You You can have an external mic attached to it. You can put it on a tripod. You can have a lanyard on it. You can do a lot of
Dad
different things.
run. Listen. I was really just trying to avoid hitting stuff like branches and stuff, so that was why it was weird like that, but alas.
With it. It's very versatile.
I was also in my dad fit. I had the jeans with the t-shirt tucked in, with the hat, with the dad shoes. I mean, it was the whole fit.
But when it comes to
Roll it back. Dad run? Yeah. Un momento. There it is.
But as far as the ZV-1 goes, it's a
Dad
really
drip.
nice
Man, the dad drip was on point that day.
little camera that you
Okay, guys, lock in, pay really close attention. This sequence that's coming up is like the best thing in the entire video. I don't know why, I just love it.
can put in your pocket. You can have an external mic attached to it. You can put it on a tripod. You can have a lanyard on it. You can do a lot of different things with it. It's very versatile. But when it comes to versatility, not many cameras trump the GoPro. HERO11, I got it in November of 2022, so not quite a year ago.
That was like the best thing of all time, and I'll tell you why. So I was like, the GoPro, boom, music cues in, bam, 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 bam. Here's your attention. Give it back. Give it back. I like it a lot, dude. That was a very, very intentional. Like, hey, your attention, is it slipping? Here, give me that. Give it back. It's mine.
Not many cameras trump.
Like the intro to Act 2. Yes, it's the intro to Act 2, Chloe, yes! Oh, it is! It's the recapturing of the attention. Act 2. The GoPro! Yo, that's actually, dude, I never even thought of it that way. This is why I love the audience, because, like, I never even thought of it that way. The ZV-1's Act 1, the GoPro's Act 2, and the rest of the crap is Act 3. The comparison is Act 3. Or the ZV-1 and the GoPro's Act 1. The comparison's Act 2. And then the wrapping it all up at the end is Act 3. The coming down, the conclusion, the falling action type of thing.
The GoPro.
Oh my gosh, I just
Versatile. But when it comes to versatility, not many cameras trump the GoPro. So the GoPro HERO11, I got it.
I love that so much, dude. You don't even understand.
November of 2022, so not quite a year ago. And when I got this camera, it felt like it was a splurge. I don't think I really needed it, or I don't think I knew exactly what I would use it for yet. The number one thing I knew.
Oh, look back. I cut the music when I said yet, but I didn't cut the footage because I usually was whenever I would cut the music. Usually it was because I was like emphasizing something, so I would cut the footage over top too. But this particular sequence I did not, because look at it. When I say yet, the sun peeks out. Right on beat.
Or I don't think I knew exactly what I would use it for yet. The number.
That's just, dude. Dude. You had been eyeing the GoPro for a long time. I had been. I had to talk myself into it though. I really had to. It's crazy.
One thing I knew was I was starting to run. I started running every day, and I wanted to document this process because that was a large part of my day-to-day. So I went ahead and got the GoPro HERO11. Very nice, very pretty, very small, compact camera. One of the things I love about the Sony ZV-1 is that it is small. The GoPro HERO11 is even smaller. Whenever I was getting the GoPro, what I think about when I think GoPro is skiing, surfing, something action, high action, like dirt bike, something like that, like super high action activities. And I felt kind of guilty in a way right when I first got it, because I was like, well, I'm not really doing these things. What am I going to use this camera for? And it took me a while to actually come up with uses for.
And you notice the style of music, the choices between ZV-1 section and GoPro section, the style of music is intentionally different. Because the ZV-1, I made it sort of like prettier, sort of more elegant, calmer song, because that's the essence of that camera. Is it's the prettier, cinematic, just aesthetically pleasing type of camera, whereas the GoPro, it's like the upbeat for the more actiony type of vibe camera. Now it's sort of contradictory in a lot of ways, but it's again designed that way. When I talk about, I underestimated the GoPro's cinematic abilities because I'm like, it's the action camera. I don't know. I kind of like the color. No, I definitely do. This is something I thought about before. Is the color on the GoPro is actually more true to life, but the ZV-1 colors to me are prettier. Like they have the sort of cooler color scheme overall. I think the ZV-1's colors look more just generally aesthetically pleasing and prettier, but the GoPro is more realistic and more true to what it actually is out of the eyeball.
For this camera. But over time, what I found out...
Okay, this shot right here is one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. I had it on the Hyper... I think I had it on Hyperview. I either had it on Hyperview, which is like stupid wide lens, or I had it like on the regular. But I had it... I was walking through the forest, and it's like kind of... The woods... I was walking through the creek bed, and it was like kind of roofed a little bit to where it was pretty much covered, but not entirely, but mostly. And I had the GoPro. I was holding it out like this, face up. And it was just... I was walking through.
Use this camera for.
And
it
you
took me
just
a while
look at
to
it.
actually come up with uses for this camera. But over time, what I found out was that
And it looks so cool because I had it... I'm like 99% positive I had it in Hyperview. And it looks kind of like... Because it's like that fisheye feature, it looks kind of like it's rolling. But it's not. Like the... It just looks so good. Walking through the forest, dude, it's barely woods. Listen.
super duper good camera for anything. I mentioned versatility.
Look at that!
This camera is the essence of versatility. You can shoot something like this, something that's, you know, stationary, whatever, and then you can take it out running, you can take it swimming.
This is one of the best frames of the entire video. I don't care. This is one of the best still frames in this entire 13-minute cinematic feature. Look at it. It's just... That's my favorite thing. And you know what? I thought this clip was so funny, I reused it like 3 times within this video. This is the first time I used it. But later down the line, I legit used the same clip like 4 times. It's so great. Or 3 times, whatever.
You can take it literally pretty
But the thing is, look at it. I'm like, I have the camera like right here. But then I put it farther. And then...
much anything you would ever want to do, you could take the GoPro.
Like I showcase the actual, like it's funny, but I actually am showcasing the width of that lens. So like this is my arms fully extended, and that other shot was like I had it right here, right? So it actually does serve a purpose besides humor.
Bro, with you. But like I said, this camera shoots really pretty video, and actually I was recording a lot of this footage yesterday as of recording this, and what I took for granted how cinematically beautiful this GoPro camera actually is, and how GoPro as a camera has evolved.
This shot right here, I'm gonna tell you about this a little bit. So this, there was a hollowed out tree, sort of. So I had the GoPro on the little Jaws mount, so I had the clamp part clamped on the outer like bark of it, and I had the GoPro inside the tree. And I think there's probably some footage that exists. Actually, there is the GoPro, or not the GoPro. I had the GoPro set up, but I had the Sony, and I shot inside the tree, so you could see the GoPro how it was set up. I had to find it. I'll have to find it. Like after the video's done, I'll have to show you. Yeah, just write it down so I don't forget. So, yeah, so the GoPro was mounted inside of this hollow tree, and you can see all these little holes because, you know, it's just cool. And then I shot with the Sony, I shot from the outside so you could see the GoPro being on the inside shooting up. It's really cool.
Over time. So enough talking about each camera individually.
That was also one of my favorite shots because you got like it just looks cool.
Let's compare. So first we're going to compare the audio. When it comes to GoPros, they're almost perfect in every way, with exception of the audio. And it's not bad. Not bad by any means.
That was something I actually added in last minute. When I was rewatching it, I wanted to give an example like right then and there of the GoPro's audio. So I just found the most obnoxious clip of audio I could.
Of the audio.
Because I had it right up next to this waterfall. It was...
And it's not bad. Not bad by any means. Especially because you can get medium up.
And that just kind of... That's one of those get your attention back sort of moments. Where it kind of just wakes you back up.
And things of that nature, which are just attachments. You can stick a microphone on there, an external mic. You can make it work, right? You can make it have better audio. And even within the camera, you can turn off, I think it's the wind reduction feature, so that slightly less muffles the microphone. The GoPro lacks compared to the ZV-1 in the audio department. And what a lot of people say, actually, and something I totally agree with, is that audio quality is much more important, especially when you're starting out. It's much more important than your video quality. Next up is video quality. Now, this is actually closer than...
This was a fun little thing I did. So this evening, first of all, all this footage that I got that was over B-roll, except for some little stuff, was all shot the same day. It was just super humid outside. So I was in jeans and a t-shirt, and I changed to tank top and shorts. But anyway, this stuff right here, this was all filmed at probably like 7, 8 o'clock at night.
so it was getting darker. So I was testing out the low light of each camera to like compare how each camera fared in low light situations. But this was all synced up perfectly, and as close, feels like a game of spot the difference, dude, for real. But the cameras, I legit had them like side by side as close together as possible so I could try and mimic the exact same shot almost perfectly, because obviously you can't get the same shot unless they're like morphed together into one camera. It's just not gonna happen. So I had them as close together as I possibly could. As actually in the GoPro shot, you can see the mic. This is the little fuzzy windscreen on the ZV-1 microphone. So it's right here. You can barely see it. You won't notice it if you're just watching and it just skips by. But that is the GoPro picking up the mic in the shot. Fun fact.
Than you might think. The ZV-1's got some beautiful footage, beautiful cinematic footage. Colors.
And that was something too. I had this shot of the sky, which the GoPro nailed. Because not only did it nail the sky, but it nailed the house and all the dark stuff too. Like it picked that up a little bit better. But in this shot,
than you might think,
you see towards the end, look at that. I'm looking up at the sky, and that's a visual transition, right? I'm looking up there, and as a human, what we see first is the human. We see the face. We see I would say, if I was viewing it, I would say, "What are you looking at?"
One's got some beautiful footage.
Cuts to what I was looking at. That is what I was looking at. Because I was walking over there and I looked up and I was like, okay, actually in real life, I was thinking to myself, that's my next shot. That's the next shot I'm going to get. So I set it up and got that shot. Simple as that.
Beautiful cinematic footage, colors, saturation, sharpness, everything is really, really nice. But the GoPro is not to be underestimated. I think I was on a different, I think I had a slightly different stance on this in my last video, kind of like this that I made. I was pretty much like, yeah, ZV-1's got much better quality, nothing else to it. But in shooting
this is cool. This shot in particular is a very good example of how each camera fares as far as color wise. The ZV-1 is more, it's cooler. It's a little bit more like, it's a little bit more doctored up in a way. Like it just has that different kind of color to it. Whereas the GoPro, that is very realistic. Like if you were sitting there looking at that in real life, that is more what it would look like, I think.
Footage yesterday with the GoPro.
And this is me lining up the footage. So I'm syncing up the video, and how I'm doing this, if you guys don't know how I'm doing this, is
GoPro.
I'm clapping. And so that's like you in like movies when they use the board, the clap board. What that does is that lines up your audio. So in the edit, you see that little spike in the audio. You can line that up with each other perfectly. That way, each video is perfectly in sync. So like you see this, everything's perfect. Everything's in sync.
The footage that I got outdoors.
And how I got that to line up perfectly was through that clap. Was that one spike of audio that you could just line up in the timeline, and then the rest of the video after that's lined up. So you just cut that where that happens, and the whole thing's in line. It's really synced up. It's really cool. It's a fun little strat, in case y'all didn't know that.
In natural lighting, like I think you have to have a little bit more particular situations.
Why is it now just occurring to me that that's literally what the clapboard is for? This is why I make these videos, dude. These director's commentaries, because you learn a thing or two, man. It's value. I got you, homie. No, I actually want to get a clapboard for real. I want to get a real clapboard, because that would be cool. So, yeah.
It's for the GoPro camera.
Because I think that would be, for the office, it'd be cool to have that just for aesthetic purposes, but also it would be effective if I'm using multiple cameras.
Quality to look really, really nice. But objectively, the video quality, again, the edge goes to the ZV-1. So let's talk about
Director's commentary is just education hour. It really is. I'd be educating on the heavy.
the frame. Out of the box, the ZV-1 is super cropped in. It has a decent image stabilization, but if you want to get rid of that crop, you can switch to product showcase mode, which allows you to have a little bit of a wider shot, but the
Like, I know the clapping is for syncing, but I didn't put the two and two together. I understand. Okay, so look at this. I kind of put the text around just to sort of draw your attention to where the shake was happening, but with the product showcase mode, you really don't notice a shake if you're looking right in the middle, but the shake occurs around the edge. So take a look.
camera shake is awful. But
Like, that's where you really notice it, and that's why the other mode is cropped in, because how it works is when you crop in, you're able to accommodate that video you're able to accommodate that video for the shake. So like if the shake goes this way, you're able to shift the footage this way, and it makes it stable. So you're able to accommodate for that shake while you're not noticing it. So
In this,
It has-
it's shaking, but
Decent.
because it's cropped in, those edges are being moved in the camera, but we don't notice it because obviously it's around the edge and it's like cropped. That's why the crop happens.
Image stabilization, but if you want to get rid of that crop, you can switch.
So you take the crop
on
away.
showcase mode, which allows you to have a little bit of a wider shot, but the camera
So you take that crop away, and the edges are
Shake is
horrible.
off.
But if you crop that in, the camera is going to automatically balance that footage out for you. But it has to have that crop, or else if it did it, you would see little margins around the edges because of like how it was balancing the footage out.
The GoPro, however, not only does it have a super wide lens, but
Here it is again.
the image stabilization is unmatched. So without
Yeah, I was running like full speed through the creek bed.
question, the width of the lens
This was 360 horizon lock. So sick.
goes to the GoPro. Okay, now let's talk about image stabilization.
Image stabilization. This shot right here was like the vlog view of me sprinting through the creek bed. Look at that!
The GoPro wins.
Like, okay, you can see that I'm shaking, but the background is like perfectly smooth.
I don't care. Which camera is... Okay, now let's talk about image stabilization. The GoPro wins.
Look at that.
I don't care.
That's unreal. That shouldn't exist. That's crazy, but that's so awesome.
Which camera is easier to use? For this example, I'm just going to say which one is just overall less complicated. Open up the box and start shooting. I distinctly remember when I got my GoPro 11, I had to unbox it, I had to install updates, I had to do a whole slew of other things. I had to download the app, I had to do this, I had to do that. And while I love the GoPro, that part was really annoying. I just wanted to get my GoPro and shoot. I didn't want to spend 3 hours doing updates, doing news, and just blah, 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 blah. Just open the box, get my camera out, and shoot. Which is what I was able to do with the Sony ZV-1. Now the GoPro...
The horizon lock is so awesome, dude. I absolutely love it. Like, I wish every camera had that exact feature. Imagine if the ZV-1 had horizon lock. That'd be the best camera of all time.
Oh, it actually does, like, when you're going from off to shooting, does start shooting quicker, because you can just, boom, hit the shooting button.
Spent the last 10 minutes just watching how much his hands move. I talk my hands, dude. It's crazy. I never realized how much I did that until I started doing YouTube.
And then it starts shooting like in 2 seconds, right? It's money. The ZV-1, on the other hand, you gotta press the power button first, or open out that LCD.
But that's something to say about how my brain is. Like, I'm saying the words, but I think this is sort of me subconsciously doing the motions to understand it more in my own brain. Like, I don't know. I think there's just something to it.
LCD display automatically turns itself on, but you still gotta manually...
But also, if you're getting the verbal information, I'm also giving you more visual that accompanies and it further enhances the description of the thing.
press record, which it takes a little bit longer, not much, but I would say with all things considered, ease of use goes to the ZV-1. Now, since this is sort of a long-term review, having reviewed it over using it for about 1.5 years, when I compare these prices,
I think it also helps me think. Like, I do the motion, and I'm thinking about it now, so it's hard for me to do the motion, but like I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say next. So like when I actually am saying it, I'm sort of my hands are guiding my brain into the next thought, and it's visualizing to me. That way I can know what I'm gonna say next without buffering as much. I don't know.
I'm gonna compare them to what they are in 2023. So the GoPro HERO11 is $400, $399.
I love that. That's just so satisfying to me.
$999, whatever. The ZV-1, on the other hand, is $749.99. Same price as it was when it was brand new, to my understanding.
Yeah, actually, it's absurd. That camera has not dropped in price in like 2 years. Obviously, there's like discounts and stuff. Like I got mine open box, so it was like $550 or something. So like I saved a decent chunk of money on it. But brand new, it's like $750, and it was that way. I'm almost positive, like when it came out, which is nuts. Melodious Blue, what's up, man? Long time no see. Missed almost every stream for a while. I'm like, hey, man, you're good. You're good, dude. You're good. That's why, hey, they're always here in case you want to go back and watch them, dude. They're always here. They're always there. There's the podcast playlist, and then there's the live stream tab. I mean, you can, and of course, there's also the regular videos, just so you know. But no, it's all good, man. You're good.
Which kind of sucks because there's a bunch of different new Sony cameras of this specific line that they're new. I don't know if they're much different, to be entirely honest, but they're new nonetheless. So I would think that this older model's price would go down a little bit, but it hasn't.
That was just, I for some reason I just wanted to do that particular edit. There was really no. I mean, it's a visual representation of going down. But I thought it was clever. That's all it is, man. I just thought it was clever.
Which is kind of lame. If you're on a budget, I would say the GoPro is where you should look first. I would say pretty much no matter what type of videos you make.
Yeah, I like I said, I got the ZV-1 open box from Best Buy, so it was cheaper. I probably still would have gotten it had I been able to get it brand new. But man, oh man, that is unreasonable. I think it's still worth it, technically, but Jesus, I would have a much harder time buying it if it was $750. Like if it was $750 when I got it.
Battery life is something that it would be extremely important. You want to make sure your camera batteries are going to last a decent amount of time. So which camera between the ZV-1 and the GoPro 11 has the best battery life? That's a much more complicated and more loaded question than you might think. The GoPro shoots like 18 different
It is
things.
again.
You can get the hyper view, you can get the slightly less wide angle, you can get the wide, you can get the linear, and you can get the linear plus horizon lock. So there's a lot of different features, and there's so many more that I haven't even mentioned. Each slightly more complicated feature uses up a little bit more of your battery. So it doesn't take quite as long for the battery to die if you're shooting a time lapse as opposed to if you're just shooting regular video. But with all of that said, regardless, say if you're just shooting regular video on the GoPro or regular video on the ZV-1, realistically speaking, the ZV-1 battery only lasts you about an hour of recording time in 4K. And obviously that
Rip.
would depend. Like if you just turn both cameras on, let them record until they die, the ZV-1 will die first. Now I haven't tested this, but I've used these cameras both enough to know that hey, that's
Your jump cuts have gotten a lot better, I noticed. Thank you. Appreciate that.
gonna happen. So when it comes to battery life,
One of the things actually I was looking before when I was planning this video out, I wanted to take a lot of feedback into consideration, so I went through the old video like this that I made, the previous ZV-1 versus GoPro video, read through the comments, looked at all the people's if they had any beef with the video, like what they suggested I could do better. I went through that comment section and wrote down some of the suggestions, and I went through other videos about these cameras, like the same type of video where they're comparing the two. I went to those videos to their comment sections, and I read through those comments and picked out certain things that people wanted. And so I wrote them down and I put them into effect in this video. So in the last video, how I sort of displayed both cameras was I had them set up side by side in the office, and I was just cutting back and forth. One of the things somebody said was, whoa, dude, way too many jump cuts. I had a hard time focusing. And I was like, bet. That makes perfect sense. And it was really just, there wasn't any rhyme or reason to the cuts. It was just cutting back and forth between cameras the whole time. And there was also, there wasn't any indication on screen of which camera was shooting, which made sense. And it was a lazy on my part because I should have done that on that video. But that's why this whole video, there's shot on GoPro, shot on ZV-1. So there's fewer jump cuts, but the jump cuts that they are to music. They're either to music or they're to my vocal cues. So if I start saying something and it's a little bit more pronounced, like a bit like that, it'll cut on that if there's no music. So there's a lot of different things like that I've taken into account with this video to improve specifically from my last one of these videos.
if the GoPro wins.
Only an hour, yeah. So I need to do that experiment where I need to legit get a full charge on both cameras, set them up side by side on their default shooting mode, shoot it 4K, 24 frames per second, exactly the same mode, press record at the exact same time, and let them run until the first one dies, and then set it on a timer. I'll do that for a video one day, I think. I genuinely want to do that for a video where I figure out which has the better battery and just let them record and then do a bunch of different things and just do basically a science experiment of which camera has a better battery. But yeah, that'd be a thing. And Melodious Blue, yeah, I noticed just during the last stream I was able to join that your cuts were kind of chaotic. This is a lot more streamlined, less fatiguing to watch this way. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback, particularly because that is something that with this video I was very intentional on doing. And if you haven't watched the full video, check it out, because I know I'm pausing all that crap. So if you want to do that, you can, and you can really see I was very deliberate with the cuts. I was very deliberate on if I jumped in or if I just cut to the next thing or how I did it. Because of the last video's feedback, I was able to be more intentional with why I was cutting, and each cut was more motivated. Go check it real quick. Yep. Just make sure you watch the whole way through. Just make sure you watch all the way, because I'm trying to get this video to 10,000 views. Or, not 10,000. I'm trying to get this video to 100,000 views. So watch it all the way through, and you won't be sorry, because it's a good video. Anyway,
out. Now there are definitely ways in the ZV-1, I'm not sure as much about the GoPro, but I know that in the ZV-1 you can like adjust your brightness, adjust certain settings that allow you.
And that's another thing. I need to, if I do this comparison of battery, I'll have to have it towards like out of the box settings. I'll have to turn all the stuff on and like do all that crap, which I already know what's going to happen. The ZV-1's going to go for like an hour and then just die. Like it's the battery, and honestly the battery objectively kind of sucks. Like compared to say a phone battery. The phone battery I can record all day and be just fine, but oh well.
You to sort of conserve your battery a little bit more, but even still, with all of that into place, it's not going to last as long as the GoPro. It's just not. So I think when comparing these cameras, one of the big things to take into consideration is what you actually do.
The star trails, dude. The star trails, bro. Oh my gosh. Stop, dude. Another thing. One night, because this 6-second clip took me 2 hours to record this. And my camera died, so I had to stop. But what I want to do is have the GoPro attached to the charger, like plug it in to where it's running on charger power, so it's not going to die. And I'm going to set it up as soon as it gets dark, and I'm going to let it go until the sun comes back up. So I'm literally going to do it overnight. I'm going to sleep, obviously, but I'm going to have it recording overnight. Make sure I have the biggest SD card I have, put it in there, the 64 gig. Have it in there, recording overnight. Then you'll get, when the stars are going around, you're going to get to where, whenever, before the sun comes up, you're going to get to where they come all the way back. So you're going to see this, like the curvature of it, but you're going to see it become full circle. But I think I'm going to probably do it this way.
These cameras, one of the big things to take into consideration is
it's probably either going to, like the start of it's going to probably fade out a little bit, or it's just literally going to be a full circle of thing. I don't know. But that's a goal I want to do. I want to do a lot of different things. Because this video, honestly, inspired me to do about 10 different other videos. Like, it's really cool.
Is what you actually do with your camera. Do you predominantly take pictures?
Would you rather
take it out on a vacation with you, on adventures?
This whole back end is so good.
videos? Do you do vlogs?
I just want to talk about this real quick. So a lot of this footage towards the end of these like waterfalls and stuff, I recorded this while I was on vacation with Maddie and her parents. I got a ton of footage. Haven't really put it in any videos because I just got the footage because I wanted the footage. But I think saving the footage was handy because this video is perfect for all that footage that I got because it's all different types of footage. So you'll see the waterfall and like I dipped the GoPro in the water. It's so good. Just check it out. Circle stars, so cool, dude. I love it.
Do with your camera? Do you predominantly take pictures? Would you rather take it out on a vacation with you, on adventures? Do you do sit-down videos? Do you do vlogs? Do you do like what kind of videos? What kind of movies do you make? Obviously, in a perfect world, if everyone could afford it, I would say 100% get both. But if not, according to this comparison on these particular criteria, I would say get the GoPro. While it was a close comparison,
I had to. It felt like a game show or like one of those shows that they eliminate people. And whenever I said GoPro, the beat kind of went dun, 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 dun. Like it got intense whenever I said that because I was like announcing who is out or like who won or whatever. I just felt like that was really cool.
Particular criteria.
I should have had the music louder on this part, I think, to where you really could feel it more, but
I would say get the GoPro. While it was a close comparison, the GoPro edged out over on some certainly important things. Like they both shoot 4K. Pretty much
and it's in the water, look at that.
The camera now does.
Pretty
like
rocks.
The stabilization's better, the microphone's a little and all the shortcomings that were with the GoPro really just aren't really that big of a deal. Unless that's something that is extremely important to you, that's objectively not really.
Oh, dude. Stop it. Pay really close attention right here, right now.
Aren't really that big of a deal. Unless that's something that is extremely important to you, that's objective.
I love that when I dip it in the water, I demand a recount. I love the GoPro. No. Oh. No, bro, the GoPro won. I don't know what you're talking about. But I love this. Dipping it in the water, seeing underneath, and then pulling it back out of the water is so cool.
Objectively not really that big of a deal because if you're saving like almost $300 on this camera, but it does everything that this can do and more, I see that as an absolute
win. Dude.
But at the end of the day,
come on. I know, I just enjoy drama. Fair enough.
I'd be talking about you and more.
Now, this is important. This is like the lesson. This is the value of the video right here. Or the message, man.
Or I see that as an absolute win. But at the end of the day, I'd be talking about all these cameras. I'd be talking about the ZV-1. I'd be talking about the GoPro. Like I talk about all these things and comparing them to each other. But the reality of the situation is, it doesn't matter what camera you have. You can get the best of the best, the most expensive, most fancy, amazing camera you could ever think of. But what footage you get can only be as good as your ability to get said footage. If you don't practice, if you don't take time and repetitions to develop your skills in filmmaking, in photography, in whatever, if you don't take that care and take that time and understand that right when you start, you're gonna suck regardless, so getting a big fancy camera is probably not worth it. If you understand that it's gonna suck at first, you're gonna not be as good, but over time you'll develop skills to where you'll start to get some really, really cool footage.
Ah! Okay, so you remember the beginning of the video, the first like 18 or 19 seconds. I started off by throwing the GoPro in the air, and then it went to black, and made you think I dropped it. This is bookending that sequence. So basically I opened that door in the very beginning, and it made you wonder what the heck was going to happen. This is me closing that door, but it's so cool, it's so satisfying because it's like on the beat. It's like
where you start to get some really, really cool footage.
That was terrifying. That's so good. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed that so much. That's so cool to me. The music, man. The music it's just your soul, bro. It makes you feel.
So the point here is, it doesn't matter. Get whatever camera you want for your own unique situation within your budget, and then just have fun and shoot what you want. Obviously, shoot as much as you can. Practice, 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 practice. Because when you're making videos, do the very best with what you have. And then over time, if you feel like you want to upgrade something, go for it. But at the end of the day, the camera you use is only going to be as good as the knowledge you have of using it. As long as you are fulfilling that creative itch that you have to make videos or to take pictures or whatever, that is what matters, number one, above everything.
On beat ending. Thank you, patrons. Let's go. That dude. Stop it. That's my favorite video I've ever made. I don't care. It's like, okay, it's probably the thing. I'm so happy because I've made my favorite video, every video for the past 2 months. That's so cool to me. That's so freaking awesome. Also, the this video is like neck and neck with the concert vlog of late. It's second now of 10, but it's just within 5 views. It's close. And dude, it's just so dang awesome. I love it so much. It was totally worth 8 hours of editing time, because if I hadn't done that, it wouldn't be as good. But just, oh man. I'm personally, the views just be piling up on the channel. Dude, I'm psyched. I'm actually half tempted to stop posting shorts because it's just a lot more work than, I want to put that extra time and effort into the main channel videos. Or, I say the main channel videos, but the long form videos. I'm thinking about that. It's genuinely a thought that I'm having. But what I'll probably do, I was talking to Maddie about it yesterday. I think what's happening is that with the shorts, it's a similar instance to the daily vlog, where I am feeling sort of like I'm just making them to get them out every day, and I don't really feel creatively fulfilled by them. So what my thought is, take a break for a minute, and if you miss the results, go back. No harm, no foul at all. That's my thought. It's take a quick break, do the thing, take a break from it, no big deal. I can go back to it. Obviously, this is kind of a thought that's kind of not really important. But my thought is what if? Well, it's also I can tell why they're not doing as well, because they're the podcast clips, and it's really hard to get those to do well. If I don't completely over edit them, I need to do boom boom boom. The intro the first 2 seconds has to be amazing, or else it's just not going to do well. The hook is extremely important, more important than I would say anything else ever. The hook is super important. So with the podcast setup it's just not as attractive, which is fine. But my thought is stop posting shorts for a week, and then I could either cut shorts from it, this video that I've made. The new video, I know there's several segments I can make shorts from that are actually good. So I could use that for shorts, only post like 3 a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something. Or I could make shorts like the one I have coming out tomorrow. I like set up 3 different cameras, time lapse, and like try to compare each one. That was a cool short. I think the standalone shorts, the original, like the original creations, are what do better, and are what fulfill myself better. Cause like I loved the podcast we did, like the podcast I did with Evan, the best podcast I've ever done. It's the best by far. I love it. But the shorts I cut from it, they haven't performed, which is one of the reasons, in all honesty. But also, I think my philosophy on making the shorts has been sort of flawed, in that I'm trying to find the line of what I can make the most of quantity-wise with the least amount of work that gets the most views. So like it's a triangle, right? I'm trying to put in minimal effort for high quantity and high views. Like trying to find that equilibrium. But that's just not a good way to go. And I've learned that with my my long form videos, is that I need to say fuck the quantity and just make the videos like as the best ones, like make what I want to make as a short form video. Like fulfill my creative soul through a short form video. And just do the absolute best shorts that I can make. Right? And those, so I'll get more views on a short that I put a couple of hours into, as opposed to on a short that took me 15 minutes. Yeah, if you're not happy with what you're doing, don't ever be afraid to change it. Yeah, because I've got a short coming out tomorrow. I've got the one that just dropped, and then I've got one coming out tomorrow. I think that's probably going to be the last one I put out for a while. My only thing that I kind of am kind of sort of worried about, but like, I think part of why I don't know how true this actually is, so I'll have to experiment with it. But I think part of why the videos have done better is, like, I know for a fact they're just better videos. But part of me thinks that because they're shorts getting shown to more people, that people that are interacting are also getting shown my main videos. But then again, the time that the videos have done better, the shorts, like from this video, the best vlog ever, you can't see it, but from the video I made that started the weekly videos, from that video on, the videos have done better, but the shorts have done worse. Like, they've underperformed. The shorts have underperformed. Which is a funny thing, because I would rather the long form do better. Like, if I had to pick one, I would rather get the long form attention as opposed to the short form attention, because that's what full transparency, I don't care as much about the shorts. Like, I post them because they're fun, and I have to do them. I don't have to, but, like, to capitalize on the current moment in history where it's organic, then it's best to do that. But also, like, I want to actually make what I want to make short-wise. Like, I want to make something that can tie into my regular videos. That way I can link them together, have people going back and forth. Like, there's a stat on the studio where you can find who watches, like, of your viewers, who watches, like, what percent watches shorts only, what percent watches long form only, and what percent watches both. It's like 47% long form, 48% only shorts, and then like 5% both. Which actually I didn't think it was that high, to be entirely honest. But I feel like it's just polarizing my audience to where they're not consuming all of the things. I would like to get it to where everyone consumes all of it, right? In the live streams or something, like, one of the things I mentioned when I was talking to Maddie about it, I was like, I like the shorts, but I think I like the live streams and the podcast better. So what I want to do, YouTube search, that's a good sign. What I want to do is prioritize. Do you mind if I ask what microphone you use for this video? For the stream or the video that came out today? Either way, I'll tell you both. This is a Blue Yeti microphone. You can get them at Walmart. And then for the live streams are also fun to watch. Thank you. I love doing them. That's the thing. I love doing these. So like, I think I'm going to prioritize these over shorts in the time. But also, for the beginning of that video, I used my phone for the intro. I held it to my mouth and I recorded. And then the rest was the Sony ZV-1 with the Rode Video Micro attached to it. External mic. It's like $100 or less, I think. It's like an on-camera microphone, but you could, like, I do it for voiceovers. I do it for a lot of different stuff. So it's a pretty versatile microphone as long as you have it attached to a camera. I think it's the only way it works. I think you might be able to do it on other stuff, but I'm not certain. But yeah, Rode Video Micro is the microphone that I used for that video. Like 100% of it. Except for the very beginning, which was my phone. But yeah. Yeah, YouTube search. I'm watching the 60-second live views. We got our first, I think our first YouTube search view. I'm not certain. Let's see. YouTube search. Yeah, it's just one view so far has been from YouTube search. So we are trying to get it to where it's like 100,000 of them from YouTube search. So that's a thing. I think it's funny though, because like sometimes these early YouTube search views are just searching GareTheBear, going to my channel, clicking on the thing. But then again, would it be from search? I don't know. I think it'd probably be from channel pages at that point. But at 500 impressions, 2.9 click-through rate, not bad, but it could be better. We'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna think more about it, but more time into thinking about it. But I think I'm gonna prioritize live streams and the podcast over the shorts. Because the podcast, first of all, is extremely low effort. The only thing it takes is time. And I enjoy this thoroughly. And I want to have more episodes with guests on. I want to have Evan Lindy back. I want to have the Kiwi Gamer. I want to have more people. So I want to do that for sure. I want to prioritize making that a thing. And maybe even doing more. We enjoy that you enjoy it. I'm so happy that. I love that so much. But I want to prioritize that and maybe even do multiple of these per week. Like, whoa, the Kiwi Gamer. That's a goal. I want to. You know, if he's okay and if he wants to come on, like, absolutely I'll have him. Drop of a hat. The biggest critique I had was the audio in that video. Mic sounded kind of jarring and it compared to the fairly good camera work and editing. Also, that could be just me because my headphones are a bit overkill. It's hard to say. It's always hard to say because with the audio, like, it all depends on how you actually, like, to me it sounds different wearing headphones versus through my phone speaker when I'm watching the video on my phone. So it definitely, I get what you're saying, because it could be the actual audio and it could be the the audio and the edit, or it could be the how you listen to it. So that is a hard one to gauge. That's part of why I've thought about buying some, like, computer speakers to, like, listen to the edit out loud as opposed to through headphones. Because through headphones, you can hear a lot more detailed things. So that would result in the music in the video not being as loud as it needs to be. Or it could result in certain things being not quite, you know, it's just certain little aspects that I think could hinder the audio quality of a video. But the audio in that video, mic sounds kind of jarring. Define jarring. Like, was it too loud? Was it just, like, define exactly what you mean by jarring? Because I'm all ears about the critiques and what I could do to make it better. Because I'm very down. I think also the I've done some work in the room to sort of make it not as echoey, but there's still some slight echo from, like, behind me. I want to get just foam everywhere and make it like the most perfect audio setup, but that's obviously that's a thing that I could do, but it's money. But alas, like, I want to make those adjustments to where the audio's better. And also I've actually looked into different microphones and stuff. One thing that's annoying to me though is they make, like, some really good shotgun mics for your camera, but the problem is, like, a lot of them you have to charge. Like, there's a battery in the microphone. I'm like, that's kind of stupid. I mean, it makes sense obviously, but, like, that's just, like, bro, that's kind of lame. It's kind of lame. Not gonna lie. But if it makes for better audio, it makes for better audio. That's just how it is. So it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, if there's anything particularly that you thought was whack or that what you would define as jarring, let me know. Let's see. Oh yeah, I put out a poll yesterday too about the shorts. What are your thoughts on the shorts recently? Love them, meh at best, and then shorts? Question mark. Somebody put meh at best, which is a thing. Shoot. Yeah, no, I think I'm probably going to take a break from shorts. Take a little break. Make some better make some better ones. Because, like, dang it. It's one of the things that's one of those things on the channel that I overthink about quite a bit is the shorts. Like, I want to post them, but I also want them to be good and, like, actually drive traffic to the channel, you know? I think the best description is that it sounded too mono. Most watchers are usually wearing headphones, so they listen in stereo, which the rest of your audio and music is in stereo. The mono sounds odd. Take that break, get the creative. Yeah, the mono I get, but that's because it's a shotgun mic. It's directional, so it shoots straight on. I don't know. There's probably a setting in the camera that I can use that would like switch it from mono to stereo. I'll just dig it up and look and see. But that's like the focus of a shotgun mic is to get that, like, instead of hearing everything that's going on around, is to get straight on when I'm shooting like to myself. Which I get what you're saying though, because it does sound a little funky because you can hear like the music like this, but you can only hear the voice like this, like straight ahead. So that makes sense. I have to look into that for sure. And then Brent says, take that break. Give the creative juices time to flow. I think that's the plan. And I want to figure out, like, I want to make original shorts, but sort of have them tie in to my main videos. That way I can, like, connect to the audience a little bit. But, I don't know. I'll probably just make, I don't know. That's the thing. I'm going to have to sit down and, like, meditate on that, you know. Let's just sit there and just think about it. We'll see. But yeah, it's been an hour, 6 minutes. Probably going to grab some lunch. And then, yeah. So, I think that'll do us for today. Thanks, guys, for hanging. It's been a freaking awesome time today doing the director. I always love these. Like, that's why I want to prioritize these over shorts, I think, in the future. Because while shorts get the bigger number, what this is direct interaction with you guys. And being able to get real-time feedback that isn't through comments, which comments are great, but otherwise the video was very good quality. I can't say too much else as I couldn't do any better. Hey, anything is appreciated, dude, so I appreciate all the feedback, like everything and everything. If you say it's great, that's awesome. If you say it sucks, let me know why, and I'll see what I can do. I really appreciate that, for real. So, again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it that you take your time out and hang out with me on these streams for a little while. I want to do more of them for sure to enhance the podcast even more. Because podcasts are popping in the culture right now. Like, it's a thing that people are really into. So I want to try and capitalize on that. And I think really the podcasts are, for me, if I'm trying to give value, I think this is a better way for me to do it than shorts. So with that all said and done, thank you guys again so much for being here. I really appreciate you all so much. And see you again next time. I won't say next week because it may be before that. You never know. So I'll see you guys next time.